What's up, fragrance connoisseurs? Welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Charm City, and I am basically your friend and guide as we go through this fragrance journey, this fragrance experience together. Today, we're going to talk about a shout out to Razor Ramon. He started a tag video, and the tag video was steakhouse, date night type scents that you would wear when you go to a steakhouse or go out for a date at a steakhouse, such as Ruth Chris, Capitol Grill, maybe Fogo de Chau's, a more upscale restaurant that you go to that's a steakhouse. So I'm gonna try to do my best. Razor Ramon, and we'll go, yeah. Cheers, Chico. But before you go, we want to talk about, I am at however many subscribers I'm at right now, but I know that Razor Ramon is somewhere in the 1.7 thousand subscribers, and he'll say, need to help out, do something for your boy. I'm gonna need you to like. I'm gonna need you to share. I'm gonna need you to comment. And I'm gonna need you to subscribe. Yeah, so not drinking this morning, but I did wanna give a shout out to Razor Ramon. If you don't know, it's Razor Ramon the Barber. You can check him out. He is the start of this tag. Also wanted to give a shout out to Dedrick for giving me a tag. Down in the description below, I'm gonna shout out to some people that I will tag to keep this going. Always appreciate the frag community coming together and hope that we can do some more of these, and maybe one day I can put together something to give a tag out to everybody. So stay tuned for station identification, and we'll get into the top fragrances for a steakhouse dinner. All right, stay tuned. All right, fragrance connoisseurs are back. First of all, thank you for watching the video. I appreciate all the subscribers. And if you're new to the channel, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we have a lot of content coming on. I give a diverse lineup between niche, designer, and even inspirational clones. So there's a little bit for everybody. Definitely, we appreciate your feedback, your support, and leave in the comments your best steakhouse fragrances that you can think of. So the first thing I want to do is talk about the concept of what I would look for in a fragrance if I was going to a steakhouse. So steakhouse is not just basically kind of like light fare. It is a more hearty, a denser, thicker, richer type meal. And you definitely want to have a fragrance that can compete with that. One of the first things that I would not do, in my humble opinion, is that I would not get kind of like a gourmand kind of sweet fragrance for a steakhouse. To me, you want to be basically a special of the day and be put on the menu as a special by the significant other or your date. However, you don't want to be seen as you are a part of the menu. You want to have something that differentiates yourself from all the other smells that are in that restaurant, in my opinion. But you also want to have a fragrance that is strong enough to cut through the rich flavor of steak and the smells that go along with that, with the wine, with the steak, a lot of things that you usually get. So jumping into it, the first one that we will start with is Roja Parfums, and this is Enigma. Now, this one is the Parfum edition. I know there's a Parfum Cologne, but to me, this one is a lot denser, a lot richer. Enigma is really a mass appealing fragrance to me. It is very, very pleasing and a mass appealing scent, but this still has that Roja DNA. So this is a boozy tobacco fragrance that also still has that Coca-Cola kind of vibe in the background. And this is a performer. This has very good projection, very good sillage, very good longevity, and it's clean, but it still also has some of that slightly dirty Roja DNA from it. There's a brightness that comes with this from the pepper. There's also citrus and neroli in the opening, gives you a little bit of that kind of soapy cleanness, but the soapy cleanness is really dialed down. But then there's cognac, there's ginger and vanilla, and that gives you kind of like a rum and vanilla Coke type scent profile. The tobacco in this is really nice. It's a good supporting cast member. And then there's a great dry down in this, which comes with a resinous and earthy sweetness that comes from vanilla, benzoin, and patchouli. So if you go into the notes of this, we have some notes that just come to mind. I know usually a lot of times Roja has a whole lot of notes, but the notes that come to mind to my nose as I experience this from the opening to the dry down are black pepper, neroli, bergamot. Then you have cognac, tobacco, ginger, and jasmine, and vanilla, benzoin, and patchouli are in the base. A great fragrance. Definitely it is a 9 to 10 out of 10 in my book. It's gonna perform, and it's gonna be great for that steakhouse dinner at Ruth's Chris Capitol Grill or anything like that. The next one that I wanted to bring up would be Emiro by Moresque. Emiro by Moresque. Now this one, it seems to be an inspiration of Amber Oud and another type fragrance that I thought would be great for a steakhouse. And I do own Amber Oud, so just to show you, I didn't want to put two Rojas in the lineup. So I thought this was a great one. Actually, what's good about this, a shout out to Chris at the Dry Down. He's the one that kind of brought me into this particular fragrance from Moresque. I do have some other fragrances by Moresque, but I saw this on one of his videos maybe like 5 months ago or something like that. And I ended up picking it up. This is a very good inspiration of Amber Oud. I don't know if they actually were trying to do that or if it just ended up that way, but it is a stunning fragrance. And I was able to get this at Max Aroma for a 3.4 ounce for $119. Every once in a while, it seems like it comes and goes for that price, but the retail price is $380. So if you can get this at Max Aroma for $119, you are really getting a steal. And this fragrance definitely outperforms, has more quality than $120. It's basically a steal. So this Emiro is a rose, amber, and oud fragrance, basically like Amber Oud, and it utilizes kind of like that Middle Eastern olfactory scent DNA. It's another room filler that it will get the attention of everyone and anyone that is within kind of like a 6 to 8 foot radius of you. This does perform, it does project. You have great sillage from this, and it is one of the first it's an amber that blends in rose, and it's all laid on a foundation of oud. The oud is not something that overtakes the fragrance. I really believe it's more accentuating the amber and the rose, and oud is playing really like a back supporting cast of this one. On this, you have on the top bergamot and lemon. In the mid, you have rose, ylang ylang, geranium, and jasmine. And in the base, you have oud or agarwood, amber, patchouli, and leather. This is a great fragrance, and it was a great find. And if you can get this for $120 on Max Aroma, definitely go. Every time they've been having sales lately, this has come back up for that price. Really great. Next one we're gonna go with is Pegasus Exclusif by Parfums de Marly. Now this one, my real favorite of the line of Parfums de Marly is Latent Exclusive, but Dedrick already put that one up. So I'm not just gonna go with something else that Dedrick has already put up on the same tag video. So I went to Parfums de Marly's Pegasus Exclusif. To me, this is the better one between the Pegasus line. This is the flanker, and I like Latent Exclusive better than I like Latent. I like Pegasus Exclusive better than I like Pegasus. Just my thoughts on it. If you want to know what Pegasus Exclusive is, it's basically a denser, darker Pegasus. And Pegasus Exclusive, it also kind of takes that Middle Eastern DNA, blended in an intoxicating potion featuring almond, vanilla, and creamy sandalwood. It differentiates itself from the OG by adding in an aromatic cardamom off the top, and then it adds geranium and some woods, including a woody, slightly medicinal oud that is in the base. This makes it denser, darker. I really like the scent profile and the DNA of this one. And Pegasus is fire. I do like Pegasus as well. But this one, like Emerald says, just takes it up a notch. So off of this, we would say in the top notes, you have cardamom, heliotrope, pink pepper, and bergamot. In the mid, you have bitter almond, lavender, geranium, and jasmine. And in the base, you have vanilla, gaiac wood, agarwood, also known as oud, sandalwood, and amber. Really nice fragrance. Next, we will go with Kutay by Unique Luxury. Now, a friend of mine who is from Turkey, he says it's Kutay. Some people say Kutay, some people say Kuti, whatever you want to say. I'll still stick with Kutay. However, this is a fragrance that is often compared to Nasamato's Baranda, and it shares a lot of similarities to it. This is nuclear. Kutay is nuclear, and this will cut any food smell. This will fill a room. You have to watch the amount of sprays that you use. This one's beast mode. It's gonna last 12 plus hours on skin. If you spray it on clothes, forget about it. Because it's not coming off, as Razor Ramon says. You would have to wash it 3 or 4 times to get this out. This one is a beast. Now, it is a whiskey fragrance that is very boozy, and it opens up with a heavy dose of that whiskey and lemon. And then the oud is prominent, and it announces its presence as soon as the opening citrus starts to fade out. Citrus is basically a top note that kind of goes, and if it's just listed in the top note and it's not a main feature of it, it kind of fades kind of quickly. And this one, the oud takes over. When I first got it, and I sprayed it immediately after it was delivered, the oud really had taken over the fragrance, and I really had to let it settle, had to let it macerate a little bit, and then it became a fragrance that I truly, truly love. So Kutay is going to give you an oud that is very prominent, but it is mellowed by a sweet candied caramel that is paired with a dry soft tobacco. Very nice fragrance, and all of these notes are supported by a sweet amber and a sandalwood. This is a very smooth fragrance, but it's definitely, you have to like boozy fragrances. I do like boozy fragrances, and this one is top of the list for me. I don't own a full bottle of Baranda, but I have had a sample of it. I did have a decant of it. One day maybe I'll want to get a full bottle, but for now, this is one of my top boozy fragrances, and this is Kutay by Unique Luxury. Next, we'll go with a leather fragrance, and let me get the whole bottle. and this is African Leather by Memo Paris. And this, to me, is one of my favorite leather fragrances. African leather is a more refined leather. It's not really kind of like that rawhide or that tanned leather that is a really strong, pungent leather. This leather is a lot more refined, and it is definitely blended well with spices. And one of the main spices that this is blended with is cardamom, which makes it aromatic, which definitely pushes this in the air, and it is a really nice refined leather fragrance. Definitely in my top 3 leather fragrances of all time, and one that I would reach for if I was going to a steakhouse dinner. So you take the leather and it is accentuated with the saffron, which gives you kind of a leather, kind of elegant, kind of softer tone with the saffron, adding kind of to the powderiness. Saffron is basically in the Irish family. So it gives you, saffron gives you like a soft leather that is also paired with the leather in this. And then the emphasis off the top, and it stays throughout the fragrance, is cardamom, and it gives this spicy, this sweet, resinous, and aromatic kind of touch to the fragrance. Then that is also paired with a sultry, subtle, and slightly animalic touch from cumin. And all that's combined with a woody oud, not at any way fecal or barnyard at any kind of thing. And then there's a green rose-like geranium, and it's all on a bed of musk. This fragrance is stunning. It gets mad compliments. It will get noticed. All of these are performers, but this is another one that performs really well. Will give you 10 plus hours on skin and gives you above average projection and sillage. So when I think about this one, I think about that this is taking the savagery of the savagery of kind of like the African leather or African vibe of it, and it is being enticing and intriguing to people who are suburban, of the city, more civilized. I think of like kind of like Tarzan. This is how the people of civilization were intrigued by this guy. And this one is, this makes you that guy. You are definitely intriguing to civilization. It is a nice, elegant, refined leather that has some really nice blends and touches in it. If we go through the notes real quick, again, it's cardamom, leather, saffron, cumin, patchouli, geranium, agarwood, which is oud, bergamot, and musk. And that one is African leather. My next one is one of the favorites of one of the pickups that I've gotten this year. And this is by Zaharoff, and it's Halfeti Signature Black Rose. Now, Halfeti Signature Black Rose, once I got it and experienced it, it's definitely in my top 3. It might be in my top 2. I can only think of one rose fragrance that I would consistently put above this one, and that is Narcissi, and that's my favorite rose fragrance of all time. But otherwise, this one is second to none other but Narcissi. Now, Signature or Halfeti Signature Black Rose, it starts with a bright and slightly herbaceous opening from black pepper, bergamot, and basil. And what you have to look through this fragrance is you think about a black rose that as this fragrance wears on you and starts to dry down, think of a rose when you look at one of those still pictures that actually goes in time, and you just see the rose kind of blooming. And they do the time lapse, and as the rose blooms, you get more and more of this pungent, sultry, black rose experience that is an olfactory masterpiece. So Zaharoff really did a great job on this. And like I said, from the beginning to the end, the black rose is very prominent. And to me, it feels like it is blooming and getting ever more pungent, ever more of the black rose experience as it starts to dry down. This is a phenomenal fragrance. It also performs very, very well. And this one is one that I will be wearing a lot more of come this winter and fall. So what I can say is that this is on an overall woody base, and that base is a vetiver and oud. Again, the rose plays center stage. The vetiver and oud are basically a supporting cast, and the oud never takes over this fragrance. You really get a nice black rose experience. There's musk in the heart, and then there's a base that lends to that dark and central rose accord. The musk really accentuates that rose a whole lot. And this is an incredible rose fragrance that must be experienced. This one is great. I really think this is one that you need to get your nose on. And that is Halfeti Signature Black Rose. The last one that I have for this one is Jubilation 40 by Amouage. Now, Jubilation 40, I will say this is a fragrance, as I try to move all the other fragrances out the way, this is a fragrance that is a CEO, a boss fragrance, and this is like a rule of nations. If you want to talk about a fragrance that is going to get noticed, that is going to get you some real compliments and some head turners, this is another one. All of the ones that are on the list are great. This one, to me, takes that Jubilation 25 DNA and it really gives more performance. The batch that I experienced was the reformulation that I feel is not as prominent as the original batch of Jubilation 25. I also have Fragrance de Bras New York Intense, which I really like a lot as well. But again, this takes that incredible DNA of Jubilation 25 and it extends the point of the performance that many had as far as the reformulation, but it also takes that profile and it adds to it to give you an emphasis on an earthy patchouli and a robust oud. This is a stronger fragrance in all accords, and it definitely has, like I said, a rule of nations. Like you are a Middle Eastern sheik or prince. This really feels like you are in control and you are running things. What I have to say about this is just note that when you go to that steakhouse, the waiter or waitress or whoever is the attendant is going to expect a generous tip if they smell this fragrance on you, because you smell like money and they're going to expect you to give what you smell like. Now, there are so many notes on this, and I really will only give you kind of a few things that really pop off to me. In the beginning, you get blackberry, blackcurrant, orange, rosemary, frankincense, cinnamon, rose, opopanax, patchouli, myrrh, agarwood, moss, ambergris, and musk. Great fragrance. I highly recommend it. So now, those are my fragrances. Again, in the description, I'll list who I tagged. I know for sure, tagging my boy Suits and Scents. He has a sick collection. I'm curious to see what he would wear. Also, I'll tag the man Cologne. Tag the Scent Bubble. I'll add him. He's one of the new reviewers. He's not necessarily all that new, but that I have seen and started following. So they're the Elite Nurse Lifestyle. Tagged her before. We'll tag her again to see from the female perspective of what they would wear to a steakhouse dinner. And also Tamara F. I will tag her as well. Another person that I've seen. and there may be some other people that I tag in the description, but let's keep this going. Let's go and keep the community, the fragrance community coming together. Really appreciate it. Again, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed the video. Take care. God bless.
Can I sniff it? Yes, you can. 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 Can I sniff it?